Hello Yamaha enthusiasts, and welcome to the latest modification. In a few minutes you're gonna see it all light up. We did an LED upgrade on the gauge cluster for my 04 Yamaha RX1. There is absolutely no information anywhere letting you know what bulb it actually is. Obviously on the right is the stock bulb, on the left is the LED upgrade. Using measurements and some other websites trying to figure out which one, see if my finger, where is my finger in the screen? There we go. Using my digital caliper trying to figure out what may work, what may not. I kind of rolled the dice and like, this has got to work. What actually works is a T3 SMD Neo wedge twist-in bulb. That's a lot of information. I've done some other gauges like on cars and stuff like that, so I know I had some experience what to look for and what may work, what may not work. I just know that the T3, actually if you went to superbrightleds.com, they almost advertise it as a T1, which doesn't really exist. So I went to Amazon, found one that the measurements were lining up pretty dang close. So it's like, well, for 10 bucks I'll roll the dice and see if it works, and thankfully it does. Trying to think. The sucky part is the T3 is about the smallest gauge cluster bulb you can possibly buy, and why Yamaha couldn't do at least a T5. I know the T8, T10 wouldn't be, that'd be just too big. I understand that, but at least a T5 you can get a bigger LED, or you can get 3 sometimes. At least a bigger, I don't even know what size SMD this is, but at least with the other ones you could do a 50-50 and get a lot of light going on there. I know with my experience, the thing is, in gauge clusters they have like a plexi type deal where it surrounds the gauge part, and you have to get a wide angle or a SMD type bulb. Now, where back in the day when you're trying, you wouldn't be able, you know, the LEDs that kind of look like bulbs like that would shoot straight forward. Those wouldn't work in the gauges that well because it just wasn't directing the light outward, which is kind of what you end up needing. Thankfully these did work. They're as bright as it's going to get. I thought of a couple other ideas. Here, it was a Yida Master, I know was the seller. Let's go over to the sled. Now if you thought finding the right size LED bulb was bad and wasn't going to be difficult enough, getting this gauge cluster off is really kind of stupid. I know I had a 2000 and 2002 SXRs, and all you had to do was pop the hood and twist out the bulbs, I believe, on those. Which was still, it really didn't do a great job because there's only a couple bulbs in there and it didn't disperse very well, but either way. So on this sled you have to you gotta take off the windshield and the shielding in front, which it's not the biggest deal, but if you can get her in the garage. But you'll have to do 1, 2, 3, and that's what holds the trim piece on. And then whoops, here we go. 1, 2, I believe is the only other 2 underneath the hood that are underneath that hold this part on. That's just 2 of them. You have to do a screw there, and then once you get the windshield off, you can take that one and that one off to get the whole, I mean, these little side pieces pop off. That's 1, 1 and 2. Trim piece and windshield come off, and then you'll be able to get to your gauge cluster, which is kind of a cluster because you think you'd be able to get it underneath here. Well, there's a 3rd screw that it would be already half impossible to get to the 2. They're right there and right there, but there's a 3rd one. They seem to do things in 3s on this sled in order to get the gauge cluster removed from this plastic piece anyways. And it's already actually kind of hard enough to get this unclipped. It's just a rubber boot and with a snap clip in there. to get that off, which then at least you know what, you can get it on the bench. And you'll need a tiny screwdriver, flathead, to get the LEDs to twist them out. I do suggest, I had one of them, which I've learned in the past too, excuse me, to hook this up, before putting it all back together, hook it up, start it up, make sure all the LEDs are working. I had this one, I decided to do all the indicator lights too, and all of them except the one that stays on when you're warming up did not work. I had to twist it out and turn it 180 and twist it back in. Usually nowadays they're not so picky as far as that goes, but apparently that one was. So really happy. Where if you know the frustration on this sled, the lighting is absolutely horrible on the gauge cluster. It's very dim. It's that really, it's not even yellow. I don't know, it's just a crappy color. So let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. Give me a second. The other idea I had, which is still doable, was to, on the back side of the cluster, you could run. Now I went with white, and if you're ever replacing bulbs on anything, you know that blue would be cool, but it's just on the, on the spectrum of colors, white is just going to be brighter, and the whole goal was to make this brighter. Blue, I could come back with, now that these are white, I could come back with a blue LED strip, either line this on the inside, might be kind of cool, but it has to be a really skinny one. It's like you only have 4 millimeters to work with, so I'll have to do some searching high and low to maybe find that. That would be pretty cool. Or you could do the same thing, a little thicker one. Once you have this apart, it's a 2-piece, and then there you could fit a normal sized one on the back side of the cluster, and then this would be also light up blue too. I don't know, some things to do in my downtime anyway. So let's start it up. In about 2 seconds it's going to get loud in here, so turn your volume down. 4-stroke in an enclosed garage. Well, I'll leave all of my lights on as far as the garage lights go, and then for a couple seconds, and then I'll pause it and turn them all off, so maybe can simulate being sunny out, maybe partially cloudy kind of a day, so at least you can see the lights, and then simulating maybe dusk or something. So here we go. Alright, I know that was a quick couple seconds, but as you could see, maybe in direct sunlight, obviously it's not going to make the biggest difference. Half the time I'm not really looking at my speed anyways. I'm not going usually that fast. You can glance down and still see it. But let's, now with the garage lights off, let's see what it looks like. Now, still not the brightest thing. It's just a nicer color, I guess. It's a tad brighter than stock. Definitely once it gets dark out, well, I would like to do a night shot. You probably won't. I won't be able to clip it to this video, but it was a cool white LED color. I was actually surprised to see that it almost comes out blue, especially even on here. It almost comes out blue. Here, this should be blue, and then the letters obviously should, or the numbers, excuse me, should be red. But I was actually a little surprised to see that much blue. Again, in my opinion, it's just a dingy color usually, and I just hated that. So at least that brightened up. I'll probably have to do that other LED color, or that other couple ideas that I mentioned a minute ago, just to brighten this up. There's just, I don't know, the design, it's just so dim. I don't know why they couldn't spend a little more time on trying to figure out how to make that brighter, but it's for for giggles, let's do it one more time. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me, but just like I said, I love that color. It's a tad brighter, not by a ton, but it's a tad brighter. It just looks nicer. Little blue hue. Turn on the, as you can see, the indicator lights are so much brighter. You'll actually be able to know when things are going off. I wish this was a tad bit brighter, but maybe at night it'll show us even a little better yet. But get my finger out of the way. But as you can see, if you got the time and $10, it's a nice little upgrade. So let me know if you've done anything similar or something better. I'd love to hear and copy ya. I'd love to do something a little better. So see you out in the trails.